What's up, dog? For those of you just joining us, my name is Bogle, but my friends call me Bo. In our last 2 episodes, we covered some very basic but essential fundamentals every new investor needs to know. These next 2 episodes are for you intermediate investors out there. Join me as we start applying the fundamentals to the stock market so we can better understand how the big dogs make it a partner rather than an enemy. So let the games begin. Are you not entertained? Woof! Kids, just say no to catnip. It rots your brain and robs you of potential. Cats love catnip, and it makes them do crazy things like trying to time the stock market, aka they attempt to predict future price movements. So a cat might say something like,
I'm gonna buy here because the stock market is going to go up.
Or,
I'm gonna sell here because the stock market is going to go down. Meow.
Sure, they may be able to detect a little seismic activity here or there, but frankly, who can? For the record, big dogs do not try to time the markets or guess what they're going to do.
I've got better things to do.
Only cats with names like Mr. Jinxie and Veronica Cat do that, and it's not consistent nor reliable. Think of the stock market like an elephant. Elephants are big, really big. And if that weren't enough, they have trunks and sometimes even tusks. They pretty much do what they want when they want. If an elephant wants to go left, it goes left. Here's a joke for you. What is an elephant's favorite game? Squash. Get it? Even cats are smart enough to know that they need to get out of the way if they don't want to become a furry pancake. Big dogs don't try to guess why the market moves the way it does or try to time their purchases for when they think the market has hit a bottom. Because that big old elephant can just keep going even when you think it should have stopped. Woof! No one likes standing in a line. Dogs don't like it. Heck, even cats refuse to do it. No surprise there. So when dogs and cats agree on something, anything, you know there's something to it. Why do we hate it so much? Because when you're in a line, that means everyone standing in the line wants the same thing you do. And you can bet your sweet patookies that you're going to pay a lot more for it. You may not be aware of this, but when you go to buy a stock, you are getting in a line. You may not see or even smell that line, but you're in it. Oh, sweet mammy, you are in it. The only way you can get to the front of the line is by offering to pay more than those behind you. So, why all this talk about lines? When it comes to investing, the big dogs make their money when they buy, not when they sell. Ergo, we need to get stuff cheap so we can be sure to make lots of moolah. Ergo, we do this by buying when everyone else wants to sell. Ergo, we want to avoid the lines and high prices because we want to buy when no one else wants it. Whoa, that's a triple ergo. But don't just take it from me. Warren Buffett's dog, Spinee, once said, and I quote, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." To put this into terms humans can understand, it means that if you're trying to buy something when everyone else is, you're in the wrong line. And it should be fairly obvious by now that Spinee knows a thing or two about investing. Woof! As I mentioned, I'm convinced that squirrels possess super speed. You would think those chubby cheeks would slow them down, but they don't. Look, I'm just keeping it real when I say that as a dog, I'm more likely to turn into a pickadoodle than catch a squirrel. Though I must admit, it doesn't stop me from trying. Wait a second, there's a big market out there for dogs trying to catch squirrels. Interesting. It just so happens that I fancy myself as something of an entrepreneur. There could be a big payoff here if I could solve this problem. Hold on, I'm getting an idea. What if I could train squirrels to, you guessed it, catch themselves?
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
A self-catching squirrel. It's genius. Who wouldn't want one? But as everyone knows, squirrel training don't come cheap. How would I get that kind of moolah? There's only one realistic answer. I'd have to rob a bank. I'm kidding, come on. I don't even have opposable thumbs. And to any young, impressionable pups out there, do not rob banks. Robbing banks is wrong. In any case, it's probably more realistic to form a company and sell shares as many other dogs have done. What's a share? A share represents partial ownership in a company. Some of those companies offer to sell their shares to the public. These companies are traded through a stock exchange. Buying their shares makes you a shareholder or part owner of that company that's selling the shares. In some cases, these companies might even pay out a dividend, which is a portion of the revenues that they make. The more shares owned, the more dividends you can receive. We'll learn more about shares and dividends soon. In the meantime, can I interest you in a trained squirrel? Woof! My human is the bestest. I just love him so much. How can you not love an adorable face like this? He knows just where to pet me under my collar and behind my ears. Like all humans, he is very tall and he smells like fried foods, which human number 2 tells him he shouldn't eat because they're bad for his heart. She also tells him to get more exercise. So, I do my best to encourage him to go for walks and throw the ball. Understand, this is purely medicinal as I have no interest in these things. Okay, maybe I have a little. All right, I absolutely love it. Anyway, as I was saying, I've noticed that when he throws the ball, it goes high into the sky and then falls back to the ground. It goes up and down. The stock market is similar with one big difference. It goes up and it goes down too. But here's the thing, while the market goes down for short periods of time, it really likes to go up. And if you're willing to be patient, it tends to keep going up. For example, an index fund's 1 month chart may look like this. But for the year, the same fund may look like this. It would be like a ball that keeps floating higher and higher into the sky with each bounce. Big dogs know this and invest for the long term. They don't get scared because the market dips. In fact, that's when the big dogs invest to buy more shares. So sit, stay, and let's learn more investing tricks. Woof! Humans like to communicate by sending texts. Us dogs do it by, peeing on stuff. Sure, it can get a little messy, but it's very effective at communicating the local news and information about who sent it. For those of you wondering what we share in these pup memos, let me just say it concerns numerous complaints about cats and the squirrel that got away. Anyway, as we take you on your walks, you may have noticed that we do not limit ourselves to just peeing in one spot. In fact, we pee on lots and lots of different stuff. If I'm to be totally honest, it's anything and everything we can reach with our hind leg. And let me just say, while we're on this very important topic, that the squatters are a real embarrassment. How can they even look themselves in the mirror with a straight face? Where's their dignity? Anyway, what may appear to be random peeing to the untrained observer is actually a focused effort to diversify. There's a reason chickens warn us about putting all our eggs in one basket. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. They're talking about hard, cold diversification. That's why big dogs diversify when they invest. How do they do this? When investing in the stock market, they never invest in a single stock. The company these stocks represent can go out of business. Even very well-known companies can go out of business. Who needs that action? Big dogs aren't about taking silly risks. They leave them for cats. Instead, they only invest in index funds. Index funds? Now that's an exciting topic. Woof! Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode and perhaps even learned a thing or two about how the stock market works. We'll continue to build on this knowledge in the next episode when we discuss topics like the nice things index funds can do for you, market liquidity, and the right conditions in which to invest. In the end, we'll combine all these lessons into one saucy stock market investing burrito. Arriba, andale. Woof. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and maybe even like this video if you're so inclined. Who's a good human? You are. Woof.